Today's job is going to be putting up the ceiling, and usually that's probably the most gratifying thing to do. I don't know, something about putting that steel up, getting that nice white flat surface, and really just defining the interior space, because up until now you look up there, you're looking at the underside of the roof, you've got all the trusses, which are cool to look at, but it doesn't give it that finished look. So for me, a lot of hard work goes into the ceiling. It's all over your head, but in the end, I think it's like one of the parts of the job that is ultimately probably my favorite. Well, look at that. This weekend, insulators came in. I forgot to move this pile of wood, so looks like I've got to install this. No big deal. Once we get that wood moved, I will install that insulation. But we've got our R19 fiberglass. It's all tucked in there nice. Now this is where I always say post frame is more efficient than a stick frame, because we've got post 8 foot on center versus 16 inches on center. That means that these insulation blankets are just solid 8 foot bays, and there's a lot less chance for thermal breaks in these walls versus a stick frame. We're getting our top board here installed so we can run our ceiling, and as soon as that's done, we'll get our vapor barrier laid out. We've got an attic access to frame in back here on this wall, and here you can see this is going to be a raised lift door, which means this door will go all the way up before it turns, which means we're gonna have some extra framing here. Should be a couple good days here. Oh, sun's just peeking through, even though I think it's gonna rain here, so it's nice that we've got interior work, but we're gonna go ahead, even though we're missing this piece of steel, just to kind of wrap up the exterior as much as possible. Me and Greg are gonna stand up these last couple sheets to the corner and try to get it closed in, and then we're gonna get over on this lean-to and hopefully start putting the roof on that to get it covered up and locked down, and that'll keep some of the water off the inside so we can work under there also in the rain. So the first thing that we've got to do on the ceiling is we've got to measure a distance from the sidewall, and that's going to be our first constant line, and usually it's 38¼ inches. What that does is it lets us put the siphon rib, the leg of the siphon rib, on that line all the way down to ensure that the first row is as perfectly straight as we can make it. And then what we do from there is, and as I'm thinking about this, that would be a lot of work. We could use the laser to make a straight line, but it probably wouldn't work. Once we've got that line snapped, we've got a perfectly straight line that we can start the ceiling panels with. And then once that first row's done, everything else is just by fit. And what I mean by that is you put the piece up, you feel it. You know, we've done this enough that our experience has told us how the roof or the ceiling should go. The best way to know that we did our job properly is when the end of the ceiling is getting put in, the last pieces, and they're consistently, you know, within 1/4 inch. I mean, across an 80-foot ceiling, there could be a little bit here or there, 1/4 inch, and I'm okay with that, because the efficiency side of putting up that ceiling without snapping lines every 3 foot is well worth that 1/4 inch. If you're to look down the ceiling at ceiling level, if you go up to the ceiling and look down at it, it's pretty much straight as can be, and but the eyes can be a little deceiving. I know if it looks straight, it is straight, but when you get to the very end and you put that last tape measure up to cut your last piece, that's how you know if you did good, because it's consistent with the rest of the last row. Well, this morning we spent a little bit of time putting the ceiling on the lean-to outside, which I wanted to cover up this office, get that done. And then we came in and we got the first half of the ceiling installed. We got our vapor barrier, that's a 6mm vapor barrier. We've got our attic access panels that we still got to put in. And I know I've talked about this, but I still get some questions about it. Here you can see stagger joints. That's the overlaps of the steel. So these are 16 foot 2 inch basically. And that way I can flush them up on the end of a truss, and then they'll die on the other side of the second truss over. So that's what we call a bay, and this is like one run of 3 panels. So what we're doing is the lift, which that's the main reason I bought this mega deck lift, is that all the steel goes up in there, and like I showed you earlier, and then when we're underneath this, we can do one section at a time. So 3 16-foot sheets, and it's nice and comfortable. By doing these staggers, it allows us to keep correcting ourselves. So if we just ran them all 16 foot and then 16 foot, you've got a good chance of those sheets growing or shrinking on you. And what this stagger does is, if this little stagger, that last sheet, let's say we're out of line by 1/4 inch, when we go to connect the next overlap sheet, it's going to show us that little bit of an error there, and it's going to allow us to correct it. And it naturally will correct it, actually. So, little tip, I know I see it all the time. Guys are running steel, they're running their steel all in one set at a time, and not only I don't think does it look very good, but it also allows a lot of air. And so when you come up and you look at these lines, they're going to be nice and straight because we're auto correcting ourselves every 9 feet or every 3 sheets. Another thing is we got that insulation up, and so tomorrow our goal will be to finish this half of the ceiling. That shouldn't take us too long, probably the morning, and then we'll go ahead and drop vapor barrier down from the ceiling. We get 20-foot rolls, that way it's one continuous roll all the way around, and then we'll go ahead and start running all of our wall girts on the inside. And thankfully we had that story pole at the beginning when we made up these posts, and that allowed us to mark all of our interior girts before we put up the post. So now when we come in here, all we got to do is just set the lumber on them and go to town. We don't have to measure, we don't have to level, everything's already ready to go, and that's obviously the main goal. So that was a big day. We got a lot done. We laid a lot of steel. My shoulders are tired, both swinging panels up on the roof and then putting all those panels up over my head. So time to go home, get rested up for tomorrow, because we got a lot of ceiling to lay out, and hopefully we get some framing on these interior walls done. This is how we stack our steel upside down. It won't get damaged this way. And then when we have to lift it up, we just literally lift it straight up and it'll go right into place. You said 78 is tight? I need this plastic down. I need a stapler or something. That was a pretty nice bend though. Like, look at this bend, dude. A one-piece corner bend. Now, honestly, I don't remember how much weight capacity the Mega Deck has, the 3394 JLG scissor lift there that we're using, but I do know that it's no problem putting half of the ceiling in at one time. and putting it all up and then putting the other half in. I just think that is like the coolest thing ever and the biggest reason why I bought this scissor lift, because at 20 foot long, it is comfortable to put 16-foot sheets and work right above your head. We can do 3 at a time, and that really allows us to do that 3-set pattern and then alternate it every row. That way we've got that nice stagger, and I really cannot stress enough that the stagger is so important. It may seem like it takes longer, but it doesn't. It may seem like it doesn't make sense, but it does, I promise you. It will make it so much easier. And as we get to the end of the building, we start kind of checking to see how we're doing so that we can get that nice crisp line down the end. So let's see how we did.
Remember, you got to kind of come to the middle a little bit. Oh, Dad. I literally just ran out of staples. Right here, though.
Now, I'm assuming a lot of you want to know, how did we do on our ceiling? First off, you can see down it, so it does look good, but like I said earlier, it comes down to the measurements. Did we have the same measurements? I think we had one measurement that was, one way or the other, 3/8 of an inch. So I would have liked to have been, perfect, but honestly, it looks really good. No one's going to know but us, like the whole YouTube world. But that comes down to, we could snap every panel out. We could mark every location, but efficiency is still a goal. Production is still a goal. We're here to make money and be good. So it looks good, but now the whole world knows we were about 3/8 off on one of the sheets from all the rest. So now that we've got the ceiling done, we can go ahead and concentrate on getting this insulation finished. Got everything cleaned up and out of the way. So we'll put this R19 bats up. It's a different color, but that's just because they ran out of the one brand of insulation and gave us a different brand. That's really the only difference. It's still the same material, and we're tacking that up with some long, like 4 or 5 inch nails, and they've got like a washer head on them, something that you'd see people use in like a foam board insulation application. So once we've got all that insulation up, we can start with our vapor barrier. It's 20 foot wide, 100 foot long, so we can cover as much ground as possible with one piece and have as few gaps as possible. So it's kind of a gratifying step also, because it's super easy. If you guys don't remember, you got to use a nice piece of cardboard as a staple washer, and that allows you to really hang some heavyweight plastic without it ripping through and falling down. We're getting going on the framing on the interior walls. We've got our vapor barrier. This is a 6 mil vapor barrier. It's a full 20 foot tall, so that way we can get one piece. We do have a joint over here we lap about 3 foot on. No, we don't tape the seams. I don't know if I really need to. I don't know. Maybe someone can help me with that. These buildings are already probably tighter than they should be, to be honest. So we've got 2, 4, 6 feet. The 8 foot board here will be a 2x6. That's for our plywood. And boys are going to be going on this because I'm going to be heading out. So it's all up to Greg. Put the weight of the world on his shoulders. Hope he doesn't crumble. I'm just joking. Greg is more than capable of doing this task. And that's because I've really done a concerted effort. So I've really been diligent about over the last, 3, 4, 5 years, really zeroing in, focusing on one thing. I could do just about anything. I mean, I've done it. I've done remodeling. I've done new construction. I've done commercial. We've done it all. But what I've also done is tried to find the one thing that I really love, that we can really be good at, that we can really be efficient at and make money, because in the end, I want to be happy. I want to be successful. I want to make my guys happy and them also successful. So by doing post frame, I feel like we found a great niche to, just do what we love, make good money. And with that, we've created systems that are consistent and constant every job, and that really takes away the chance for error, and it really makes it easy for me to walk away and know that somebody can handle it and somebody else can do what needs to be done without me there specifically every day. The other side of it is, though, I like to be there. I love to be there, and every time I leave, it is always it's always a little bit, sad. I'd rather be there and be the one putting up the board. Now, like always, I appreciate you guys following along. As I go through these videos, there's always going to be some stuff that I miss, some stuff that I repetitively touch on, and that's what those comments are down below for. You guys can make sure you hit me up, make sure you let me know the things that I'm still, either missing, what I need to share. That's what this is all about. So hopefully through these build series, not only there's some entertainment, not only there's some, I don't know, maybe someone's being inspired to do something themselves, but also hopefully there's some learning and some knowledge, and hopefully also you guys can see something maybe that I'm doing and throw me some feedback as well. I like constructive criticisms. Thanks a lot. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you leave those comments, and if you like the content, hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next episode. Okay, guys? Thanks a lot.